It's that time of the week, a break from March Madness. We'll talk a little football. It's the recruiting roundup on pros2preps.com, bringing you the latest in Arizona high school football recruiting. This is Jason Jewell. My name is Jared Cohen. Jason dealing with New Mexico State getting bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
I picked them to lose, but I got Florida, Gulf Coast, and LaSalle in the Sweet 16.
Did you?
Heck no.
Heck no, he says. Well, I picked New Mexico to make the Final Four, and I know that pissed Jason off a little bit, so that we're even now. Let's get into the football part. The latest offers from around the state. Ishmael Murphy Richardson out of Desert Ridge has completely blown up.
6 offers now have been offered by Florida, by Michigan. Those schools don't even come to Arizona and hardly recruit. UCLA is the most recent, both in-state schools, and Washington was the first school to jump on him quite a few months ago. This kid's completely blown up. 6'4", 200-pound outside linebacker slash wide receiver. When do you see that combination? But I think he's going to be an outside linebacker at the next level. Big kid, physical, can run, good player.
And another guy that received an offer from UCLA is Tyler Wiley, defensive back and wide receiver out of Chaparral. This week on the recruiting roundup, though, the bulk of it, we're going to talk about the state's top quarterbacks, both the seniors and the juniors. A great senior class. We got all sorts of them. The first one, the headliner, Desert Mountain's Kyle Allen.
We would talk. What can we say that we haven't already said about Kyle? He's the #1 quarterback in the country. He's big, physical, great strong arm, good pocket presence. Leader in the pocket for Coach Tabor at Desert Mountain. They're going to have high expectations for this kid. Smart, above 4.0 GPA. I mean, he's a total package.
The next one, a guy from down in Tucson. His name is Andy Cota, and he had a very impressive season last year.
He was hurt early and then picked it up towards the end of the year, took him into the playoffs. Good player. What they do down there at Southpoint, he's a run-pass threat. Does a little bit of both. Getting lightly recruited right now. UC Davis and a handful of 1AA schools as well as Duke are looking at him according to Coach Benet. Good kid. I think he'll get more attention later on. They have a couple big offensive linemen down there at Southpoint that are going to get recruited. After spring evaluation period, I expect some more schools to be on him.
One guy that I'm just a huge fan of from Marcos Ceniza. Remember Paul Elvira, Maurice Lee, and Priest Willis, but a prospect that's really under the radar is their quarterback, Josh Ecklie.
A lot of people thought that kid might have been the best athlete on the field last season, and that's saying a lot with the kid, kids like Maurice Lee, Paul Elvira, Priest Willis, like you mentioned. He's a kid, a definite dual threat prospect, can run the ball, great, with the ball in his hands, throwing it down the field. I like the kid a lot. Saw him live against Cesar Chavez, and I liked what I saw. A definite Division I prospect in my mind.
Deer Valley has a great gunslinger by the name of Devon Palomino.
Definitely the biggest prospect out of this group. 6'4", 210 pounds, and he has great bloodlines. His dad played football in college. His brother Addison is a defensive end up at Idaho right now. No offers yet, but he had a very good junior season. He's going to a lot of camps and doing the right things to get noticed. I expect some schools to pay attention to this kid down the road.
Another senior and another dual threat guy like Josh Ecklie is Luc Benzer, who's seen his recruitment really blow up more or less over the last few weeks.
Yeah, we've talked about him quite a bit. He has offers right now from Air Force and from Navy, but some schools like Boise State and Wisconsin are really on him. His film is absolutely phenomenal. He rushed for 1,200 yards, threw for 2,800 yards. I mean, very good player, and I expect him to completely blow up through his senior season. The
last senior that we'll get to before we get to a couple juniors is Zach Whirlinger out of Basha. He had a great target in Nate Phillips the last couple seasons, and it's really helped him improve going into his senior year.
Yeah, Basha's had some very good quarterbacks over the years, but none have gone Division I since Troy Graham. That's quite a few years ago. I think Coach Buskin has his next Division I prospect at quarterback in Whirlinger. I really like his film.
Let's get into some juniors, okay? Everyone talks about the 2014 class, and with good reason. It's phenomenal. But there are some great juniors as well with some great quarterbacks. And the first one, Jason, the next one in line out at Chandler, Bryce Perkins, who's a familiar last name out at Chandler.
Right, his brother Paul is playing at UCLA, and Bryce, despite not even starting a varsity game, already has an offer from UCLA and from Arizona State. We're going to see what he can do. He didn't get a chance to play a whole lot at quarterback last year, sitting behind Daryl Garrettson, but going to be a junior, big, physical, has all the tools that you want in a quarterback. We'll see what he does once he gets his chance to shine here and start as a junior.
And the last one we're going to mention today out of the junior class, Emmanuel Gant out of Tempe.
No one talks about the Tempe High, and they had a great season last year, and they were very good, and Gant was probably the main reason. Him and their wide receiver, Messiah Smith. Good kid, another dual threat player, big and physical, similar to Devon Palomino. I like this kid. He might be Tempe's first Division I prospect in quite a few years.
So top to bottom, that's a heck of a list of quarterbacks around the state of Arizona that's going to be playing high school football both in the senior class and the junior class, and that's the latest on their recruitment. We're going to continue to bring you the latest Arizona high school football news in the recruiting world year-round, all the way up until next season, which should be a great one, as it always is. That's Jason Jewell. My name is Jared Cohen. This has been the Recruiting Roundup on ProsToPreps.com.